Fox 61 News at 5 starts now.
Right now at 5, juveniles charged after a playground goes up in flames. What police say led up to the fiery incident.
And a football fundraiser is met with racial slurs. How the community is responding to address the incident. And legislation to protect refugees here in Connecticut. The new bill that looks to open a path to permanent legal status.
I don't feel that the students' needs are being adequately met.
And a rally at the Capitol, the concerns from parents and teachers over access to mental health services.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Alicia Machado. The town of Enfield is banding together following a racist incident where Enfield students on the football team were called racial slurs while out fundraising for the upcoming season.
Fox 61's race and culture reporter Raquel Harrington in Enfield this evening with the details and the work being done to address this incident. Raquel?
Yes, you see, the town of Enfield say this incident is unacceptable on all levels. But now the town, the community, neighbors, and the district are banding together to not only condemn what has happened, but ignite a tough but necessary conversation.
We had an unfortunate incident with our football team.
Enfield officials condemning this recent incident. The Enfield superintendent said the student athlete went door to door to neighbors for the football team's annual fundraiser, all the while wearing the team jersey. One neighbor said they weren't interested and called the student a racial slur. His letter to students and family reads in part, "I need to be crystal clear on this part. There is no place in our schools, our town, or quite frankly this country for what happened to one of our students this weekend. This type of behavior is not only unacceptable, but also repulsive." Enfield Police Department was called following the incident. Police investigated and say someone admitted to using the racial slur, but went on to say, and quote, "As deeply offensive as the language is, the use of the slur standing alone does not violate the criminal law." But the town says this incident doesn't stop here.
We did not want kids, adults, the community in general to think that that was okay. So we are jump-starting one of our community conversations that we've been planning to have over the course of the next year.
The Town Council and Board of Education will host these community conversations focusing on race, diversity, equity, and inclusion. The one kicking off next week will address this incident and more by having a tough but necessary open discussion.
We can start talking about expectations as well as the cultural diversity that I believe is part of Enfield's benefit.
Now, the goal of these dialogues is to increase cultural competency in the town.
And I think we have to start having conversations with each other to understand what that means, what these cultural celebrations are, what happens in some of our households of people that maybe we have not met yet.
The Board of Ed say, yes, these conversations are vital, but the focus cannot take away from the fact that this incident happened to students, and the priority is to ensure students are okay. I spoke with the Enfield Board of Education chair on the phone, and she asked not to be recorded, but said this community conversation really is a first step, and action is only meaningful if there are improved outcomes. Now, the town manager agreed and stressed that this is not a one-time conversation.
To evolve those conversations, because they're not one and done. They're conversations that have to continue and they have to evolve.
All right, so I just want to reiterate that this incident did not take place on school grounds or during school hours. It was a football team fundraising event that took that turn with this racial slur incident. However, that conversation, that community conversation, well, that's going to take place here on the Enfield Towns Greens on Tuesday of next week, starting at 5:30. And if you head over to our Fox 61 website and news app, we have all the information posted right there. We're live in Enfield this evening for CT Culture. Raquel Harrington, Fox 61 News.
Raquel, thank you. Let's get to a follow-up tonight. Hartford police have charged 2 juveniles accused of intentionally setting a playground on fire. First told you about this incident last night on the news at 5, right here. Police say they charged a 12 and 15-year-old in connection to the fire that broke out at a playscape on Granby Street. The juveniles allegedly rolled a large truck tire under the playscape, then they set it on fire. Police say the fire left the playground unusable. We're told both juveniles were released to their parents. We've also learned the name of a person killed in a fiery crash involving a tractor trailer in East Windsor. Police say Owen Contreras was killed after the tractor trailer collided with a car on I-91 southbound near exit 44 Monday. The other driver was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Well, it has been a year since the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan following the U.S. withdrawal of troops, and about 1,000 Afghan refugees have resettled in Connecticut since then, but they only have temporary legal status.
And that's something that Senator Richard Blumenthal is hoping to change. Fox 61's Tony Tersey joins us live from New Haven with how he hopes to do that. Tony.
Everybody's got their fingers crossed. Alicia, Ben, good afternoon to you at home. Here outside the integrated, or the IRIS offices here. Those are the Integrated Refugee and Immigrant Services Office. Here today they had a press conference this morning. All of the constituents here, the stakeholders, were saying time is running short for the 80,000 or so refugees that are here from Afghanistan since last year. This morning, several Afghans, most of whom have resettled in Connecticut since last year's withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan, spoke of just how dangerous it is in their native country with the Taliban now ruling.
Many families are unable to stay in one place for more than 2 or 3 days. They must continually move to avoid being discovered by the Taliban.
They stole my home and took over my country. 5 years ago, they killed my father, and about 3 months ago, now they burned my house.
And while these refugees and others, some of whom worked for the U.S. government while in Afghanistan, were required to leave their country quickly a year ago, they only have temporary status here in the U.S., at least for now.
A bipartisan bill that I'm announcing today, the Afghan Adjustment Act, will give them a path to permanent legal status.
If this act passes, we will find a hope for life. We will think that we will have a better future, and also we will bring our families.
She was forced to separate from her family, including her husband.
And their life is so in danger. They are hiding every day. They cannot live like a human. They don't have rights in there.
And with such urgency, Blumenthal says he's encouraged that there is bipartisan, bicameral support for this measure.
I'm hoping that we can move it in the last months of this session of the Senate.
There is a similar bill then that will go before the House. Now, what they're being told by the U.S. State Department resettlement agencies across the country are that they should expect about 5,000 more Afghan refugees to come to the U.S. over the course of the next year. So not quite as much as the rush from last August, but certainly thousands more. We're live here in New Haven. Tony Tersey, Fox 61 News.
All right, thanks, Tony. A weather alert to tell you about tonight. The town of Putnam is issuing a mandatory water ban effective tomorrow. It's in response to the lack of rain we've been seeing. The use of water for watering lawns and gardens, washing vehicles, and other non-essential uses not allowed under this mandatory ban. The town is also recommending that residents conserve water when showering, as well as washing clothes and dishes. And we did see a little bit of rain overnight, but not enough to help out with this drought. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now. Rachel.
Yeah, most of the state ending up getting 1/10 of an inch of rain or less. But some, lucky few, got a good downpour. Check it out. I mean, this is just a puddle, right? But in Connecticut, it's a big deal. It's exciting. We need the rainfall. This is from David Lewis in Hamden. Taking a look at the radar right now, still a few showers out there, and you'll see some steady rain right now along the shoreline, although it's about to come to an end. Niantic over through Madison and Clinton, you guys just got a really nice downpour, and one has just popped up around West Haven through Milford. Love to see it. And you're seeing a few scattered showers that are out there through Litchfield County, which has been dry for much of the day today and even sunny. And there's more where that came from to the north. So scattered showers out there tonight. Some just get a sprinkle. Others stay mostly, if not entirely dry. And then a select few may get lucky with a downpour. But as we head towards the news at 10 and 11, this activity will be dwindling, and tomorrow is a brighter, drier day. Right now we're looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s. That temperature really depends on whether or not you've seen a recent shower or downpour. 9 o'clock tonight, we're close to 70 degrees. Overnight lows around 60. And heading through the day tomorrow, it is brighter and warmer with highs climbing into the 80s. And it gets even hotter than this to finish the work week. Your full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, new tonight, New Haven's new police chief, Carl Jacobson, has been the city's top cop for about a month and a half now. And he says he can see his department making headway in both preventing crime and connecting with the community. But one thing which continues to be an issue is the number of ghost guns in the hands of city residents. Last year at this time, the police department had seized only 4 ghost guns. But this year so far, already 35 have been taken off the streets of the city, which is both good and bad.
We had some juveniles who were telling us they were ordering these guns off apps. The other issue we've seen is now that you got this gun and it's not fully built, you have to drill and do some things. Well, we have over, I think, 11 people who have shot themselves in the city this year, which is higher than normal.
Connecticut law right now prohibits ghost guns that were acquired prior to a certain date, but ghost guns by nature don't have information on when they were acquired, so the law is not effective.
And the mayor says he's told that there's a lot of talk that the legislature will fix ghost gun laws during their next session.
Now, Congresswoman Jahana Hayes spoke with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg today about funding awarded to the city of Waterbury to improve infrastructure.
All of this improves transportation options throughout downtown Waterbury and helps to better connect the community.
People really kind of forget in this city the beauty that is right around us. So this is really going to expose that in a way that many people in this area have never had the chance to experience.
The funding will go toward improving the city's section of the Naugatuck River Greenway Trail, also improve Main Street and add EV charging at the Waterbury train station. Funding was also approved to help design and construct 2 connected trails in Plainville and New Britain.
The governor today detailing next week's tax-free week from August 24th to the 27th. The Connecticut sales tax of just over 6% will be removed for all clothes and shoes under $100.
This is Christmas in August, and it represents a real savings, especially for mom and dad whose kids are getting ready to get back to school.
Another sales tax-free week happened back in April, which co-inspired the suspension of the state's gas tax. In fact, the first time in our state's history that the state has held 2 one-week sales tax holidays within the same calendar year.
Happening tomorrow, Rick DeBate will be sentenced for his role in his wife Connie's murder. DeBate was found guilty on 3 charges earlier in the month, including murder, making a false statement, and tampering with evidence. The prosecution argued it was DeBate who killed his wife and staged a home invasion, while DeBate maintained that it was a masked intruder who shot his wife and tied him up. He is facing 125 years to life.